the script. It's on the script. Yeah.
Prediction?
Yes, prediction.
Pain. We run the clock. Super 16 is the cream of the crop. College football time of year don't stop.
We're adding this guy.
Just another go dome with the courage, heart, skill, and will. Bringing you the best 16. Serving up a plate for the football fiends. Breaking the best 16 college teams. Football fans, it's the show where you dream.
Ain't no bias. Chris Zorich breaking truth. Traded in the golden helmet in the past for a suit. With the tape, never lies. College ball, he's a stoop. Breaking the top 16, not the top 32.
I don't mean to cut you off like a Zorich jersey, but you ain't really grinding unless the jersey dirty. Hit the running back like a Mack truck behind the 30-yard line. It's game time. My team riding off the sideline.
You look at Chris like this with a fact checklist, going over college teams like a busy scientist. Steve streaking from his head like in his playing days. Super 16 polls on the show straight away.
It's the FBS, the best of the best from the ACC to the SEC. Pac-12, Big 10, Mountain West, Sun Belt, and the Big 12. Open your eyelids, who the best like Cali? Super 16 is the cream of the crop. College football time of year don't stop. With Christopher Zorich, just another go dome with the courage, heart, skill, and will. Bringing you the best 16. Serving up a plate for the football fiends. Breaking the best 16 college teams. Football fans, it's the show of your dreams.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 7 of the Super 16 show. And we've had some amazing games this week. Probably one of the best weekends I've seen. And we've seen some really good teams, some really good teams fall. We have a couple of debut folks to the poll. But a little bit more importantly, it's exciting to have this type of action in week 7. Would like to thank our folks for from the National Football Foundation and also the Football Writers Association of America for allowing me to give you my top 16. And I would be remiss if I did not mention my super producer sidekick, Phil Atoshin, DDP Draft Doctor. Phil, you want to jump in here and talk about how exciting this week of football was? Hey, there you go. Yep, I like it.
Yo, I like it too.
Wow.
I like when you're loose.
I like it.
I like it. I love football, baby. Everything football except the Bears, man.
Except the Bears.
Except the Bears. What a weekend of college football.
Chris. Oh my gosh.
It's outstanding. Every time it's like, I always compare it to Breaking Bad. It's like those final seasons that just keep one-upping each episode with another one.
Seriously,
trying to keep you up.
It's almost like, hey, last week was awesome. Then all of a sudden this week, in the thing that's I just think is amazing. Think about the folks at University of Tennessee, right? I mean, they have basically back-to-back. I mean, Game Day was there, and ESPN's Game Day was there like twice in 3 weeks. I mean, that does not happen. And, right. I mean, there's a possibility that they could be there again.
It's a distinct possibility. You're talking about the hot streak, and all the stars are out. Everybody loves a winner. You could see that come out. But it's like, you and I pull for the underdog, but in this game, you're just watching a battle of will. I mean, I put out watching that game. I mean, that's what a quarterback for me looks like in Bryce Young. I
Yep.
mean, this kid is cool as ice. He is anticipation balls all over the field. The one where he's just stepping up to run and finds the tight end. And I mean, I was talking to people. I'm like, listen, I've been wrong about a few quarterbacks in my day, and I'm sure there'll be a list of them that I was. But it's in regards to what it is they have in here.
Right.
Like, the mental fortitude is a test that I think GMs get exposed for what they think they know versus what they do know. So, for every guy miss, I'll always say, well, I was a guy standing alone for Josh Allen, and now you see who he is. Those types of things that I've learned as I've grown. What are these boxes that they check? And even in a loss, Bryce Young this isn't any disrespect for the kid from Tennessee, because he played outstanding.
God, yeah. Right, exactly.
And you and I were talking about him last week, like transfer from Virginia Tech, and he's just fitting into the philosophy of what they want to do, and he made some amazing plays. But there's something to be said. I don't care how tall Bryce Young is. I don't. Bryce Young, to me, is clearly the first quarterback you take. I haven't seen this kind of.
I agree. Wow.
I'm just telling you, if I'm a GM, that's the guy I'm fighting. Who do you got? Who do you got?
CJ Stroud still is just.
Stroud.
Even on, I do. Even on a bye, I mean, which they had this week.
I like Stroud. Here's the thing. Anticipation throws in the NFL. Bears fans are seeing it now. I did a whole breakdown on our patron side of Justin. Justin has to start trusting himself to throw and anticipate, especially when your O-line is garbage. Right. Your O-line right now, I mean, that is the most pathetic performance I've ever. I don't want to spoiler alert my tape breakdown, but it all starts up front, Chris.
Right.
That's the title of my breakdown. And
nice.
It's the truth. I mean, it's hard to get a fair assessment of Justin Fields, and there are Fields supporters that are crazy, that are going to go out and threaten your family if you critique the kid. And there were Mitch Trubisky fans like that. But for me, it's never about the person. It's never personal. It's never me wanting to be right, so I switch. Oh, I make them look bad because I want to be. It's always about the tape, thus the network. And when I see this, I see Justin not believing in his feel for the game. That's the thing that Bryce Young has. He feels the whole game, and he allows himself to be a part of it. Go ahead.
Right. No. And I agree with that. But as far as Justin Fields goes, I mean, whose fault is that? Is that the coaching staff not putting him in those situations? I mean, where does that lie?
It lies at the feet of the GM and the coaching staff, no doubt. I have a lot of DMs today. I think maybe one of them might be in the chat tonight, saying, you know what, I'm coming on to your side now. See, for me,
the dark side.
Tevin Jenkins is not only your best offensive lineman, he has the temperament, the personality, the athleticism, the strength at the point of it. Oh, wait, am I checking every box, Chris? To be your blindside left tackle. They chose, and we had Thomas Jones, who was one of the most outstanding interviews that we've ever had on the show. No
Next to
offense
me,
to
next
you,
to
Chris.
me, next to me.
Next to you.
Damn. I'm right here, right? Hello.
Hey,
I'm
just
right here,
keeping it
right?
100. You're
Damn.
always great.
Damn.
Your family.
Damn.
But yeah, it was outstanding. But because he opened up the curtain that he said, listen, I've never talked about this, but on this forum, I'm going to talk about it.
Mm.
And he talked about Lovie Smith and Angelo and all the politics that were going on that go outside the game of football. And those politics invade the culture,
Of course.
the locker room,
Right.
the mental fortitude that it takes to get through these games and to be a part of them, to give your body up, to make that little bit of an extra effort on a block that's needed. The politics ruin the game. So it's so important that the Bears stop going down that route. But I'm scared because of everything I thought Eberflus stood for
Right.
is
Right.
falling by the wayside, and it starts with Tevin Jenkins. He's your left tackle. All of these guys that have tried, I've coached offensive line. I've been around it my whole life. We can disagree here and there, but at the end of the day, it's not even close. If you think he can, Braxton Jones is a 5th-round draft pick out of Southern Utah that has a high ceiling of talent. He just doesn't check off all those other boxes. He's not strong. He doesn't have that competitive switch, Chris. Like someone gets in your face. Okay, I'm coming next play. We'll take care of this. But Tevin Jenkins has that, and he has athleticism. Whatever personality or whatever conflict they had affected their decision there. I don't like what the offensive line coach is doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all on our video. It's all on our shows. It's me talking about what I was afraid of, and it's come to fruition because now Justin's affected by it. Because it's not cliche. It's true. It all starts up front. If you cannot protect the quarterback, passing game is going to be destroyed. Yes, you can run the football. Yes, there were signs that you could run the football. You still see it. But there's backs that they've got 2 really good backs. Obviously, you know what I think of David Montgomery that cover a little bit of the warts of missed blocks. If all you have to do is watch my video breakdown of this offense, and you'll understand not only was it pathetic, it's an epic failure. It's freshman football that is, it's like how? And it really does say a lot about Justin Fields. It says what a competitor he is, how tough he is, and it is a hard place to analyze this quarterback in the future of the Bears because of how pathetic your offensive line is in fundamentals and just pickups and toughness in pass pro. And I'll say this, Chris, because I don't want to spend all night talking about the Bears, but I know you give me my little rant, and I have to say this. At the end of the game, you obviously should have beat the Commanders. There's no doubt. As a coach, you go in and you're going to say one thing to the reporters, but another thing to your staff. Right? We all know that. But I felt like this is the first. There was other kinks in the armor for me, but this is the first time you knew you should have done something that you didn't. So you have the opportunity to send the message culturally to the locker room, to your staff, to the players that maybe aren't buying in or on the fence now because things aren't going. And we all know everybody comes from different backgrounds and beliefs, and there's all these different personalities that a coach has to handle as the CEO. It's very difficult. That's why it's the most important position aside from quarterback. It's the most important free agent you ever have, the head coach. He coming out there after the game and listing all the positives in that pathetic loss was just one of those moments where you just shake your head like you are and just, that ain't the way you're going to win here. Not in this city, not in the NFL, not as a head coach. That might work as a defensive coordinator standing in front of a group.
Right.
That might work there. But as the CEO with the fans on on Amazon Prime or whatever, everyone watching, you should have won. You are the biggest problem. Always you say that. And you acknowledge the pathetic performance on the offense. You don't have to name names. You don't have to point anything. Offensive line, receivers, we got to be better blockers, tacklers. We were pathetic, and it won't happen again. Now you've sent that message. Now we're, going to go. If they go out with the same line on Monday Night Football again versus the New England Patriots and Bill Belichick, and they go out there and put those same 5 guys out there, you're going down the same clown show you were with. I don't care who you put out there. It can't be those same. It's so pathetic. It's so bad. I could fix this offensive line. People laugh. Oh, I know I can't. I know I can't. I know that they would get the best that they have. That's all I want. Your best at their best positions. I don't think that is too hard. That's where politics is coming in. Well, Phil, what do you mean politics? Well, Braxton Jones is a draft pick. You drafted him. You want to shine your butt a little bit? He starts out there, plays great. No, he's killing your quarterback. He goes to the bench. He learns from this. If he doesn't learn from this and you worry about his feelings, he ain't the guy then. Right? You got to work harder. And every week, it's consistently consistent. Number 76 is leaps and bounds better than everybody out there with effort, technique, fundamentals, assignment. Now, he made some mistakes. No one's going to be perfect. I'm not expecting perfect, Chris.
Right.
But it can't be that pathetic. I mean, it is horrific. I'll send you the link, Chris, to watch the video, Brady. It's like every play there's a breakdown and somebody it's just like, this isn't the NFL. So it's got to improve, and sometimes it improves by benching somebody. And listen, Sam Mustipher, probably the greatest kid. He's just not it. And Lucas Patrick is terrible at guard. So if Lucas Patrick is a better center than Sam, then put him there.
Right.
Don't make 6 problems for 1.
Right.
This is what's going on. And it's more important than Justin Fields right now that you get this offensive line manageable, like average. But the crazy thing is, Chris, you still should have won with that pathetic performance. And that says a lot about certain, you know what I'm saying? I know as a coach, if my offensive line was that pathetic and we still are trying, it says a lot about Justin. So as ticky-tacky as we want to be, and I keep it 100. There's no, I love David Montgomery. Let me not talk about David doing something bad. It's just the truth. That's it. So it's got, the offensive line is the biggest concern out of a lot of concerns, and it's a huge one. And it affects your ability to understand if this guy's your future. Because let's just say it. I mean, you are going to have to figure out, are you going to be picking in the top 5 like Jacksonville every year?
Right.
Is that your goal? You ain't going to do that and take over the North. I'll tell you that. That's my mini rant, Chris.
Mini rant. Mini
rant. I got it all out.
You did. And you did in less than 5 minutes. That's awesome.
I'm proud of myself.
As you should be.
But listen, it was an exciting time. And we'll see. The college was like so good that it made the Bears game even worse for me. It's like,
well, and I also want to reel back something. When I was kind of joking about CJ Stroud, I mean, I obviously love me some Bryce Young. You know that. I mean, I've loved him last year.
Yeah.
But stat wise, CJ is doing some amazing things. But as you and I both
Right.
know, I'm all about the intangibles.
Right.
And I still love me some Stetson Bennett, right? And so he's nowhere in the realm of kind of the top 2 or 3 Heisman candidates, but I think he should be there. So I am all about the intangibles. I love me some Bryce Young because he reminds me so much of Jalen Hurts, which was my first kind of look at this calm, cool, collective quarterback at Alabama.
Right.
I mean, he was Mr. Chill. And I mean, I loved him for that. So, yes, I am a huge Bryce Young fan and know that he's going to do well. But I can't wait to talk about that game.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah. One last point about Bryce Young that I think needs to be made. You know, when I sit and analyze quarterbacks, there is what Chris is talking about. Those intangible things are the complete opposite of what a 40 time, how fast, how tall, how strong, all of those things go out of the window because the most important trait as a quarterback is decision making and accuracy. Those things, those underline intangibles. So this kid is highly intelligent, he's highly accurate. And when you throw in these instinctive point guard like intangibles, then you're on another level. I mean, that's what makes our guy in Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes, so good because he has such a strong arm, but he has the intangibles and these instincts like a point guard that he can understand what's going on over there, but looking here to go there.
Mm-hmm.
Those things you can't always, it's the hardest thing to teach. You
Right.
can get to a point where you've taught it through film and getting smacked and missing it, and then finally getting it. But when kids are born with that, they've been playing so long and they're so good at, you can't teach that. And that's why I'm excited about Bryce Young so much so. And that performance, even though he did it in a loss, is just shouldn't go away.
No, not at all.
Right.
I think like what did he have? I
didn't even know his stat line.
455 yards.
455.
455 against the top 5 team in the country.
Unbelievable.
Damn.
And the other kid is really great.
Absolutely. Hooker,
he had a great game.
Absolutely.
You know, but the decisions and the intangibles and the accuracy, and again, being able to throw anticipation balls, just knowing that it's what makes Rodgers who he is. And he kills you. It kills you because he anticipates. You hear that term, throw somebody open.
Mm-hmm.
It's just understanding that, okay, the curl is coming here, but if he shorts to where it's supposed to go,
right,
it's going to possibly get batted down. If I throw it 2 yards outside, I force him to go there, and I've thrown him open. That's what Bright. Just telling you. Can't.
Love it. Love it.
Well, I love this. Are you ready?
I am ready for the Super 16
show.
Absolutely.
It is ready. Let's start with number 16, Chris. This is a heartbreak.
Number 16, Penn State.
And we talked about this. I mean, I talked about this being a game that Michigan needs to be really careful about because I didn't have a lot of confidence in Michigan's last game against Indiana. And it was like, hey, this is going to be a huge test for them. Oh, boy, was I wrong. Oh, my God. I mean, at 41-17, they were rolling. They couldn't stop the running back. I mean, it was, I think they had 2 running backs.
Yeah,
over like 150 or something like that.
Oh my God, their offensive line. I mean, Jim has them. Yeah, Michigan's offensive line is what it is. But you're right. Penn State has these two backs. You're expecting them to do big things. They benched the quarterback in this game. Our guy.
Our guy, right. Exactly.
Oh, my God. I didn't agree with that move. I'm like, just run it out with them. But listen, Penn State, you're coming in as the number, I
They're
think,
number
was
11.
4 rushing defense.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Coming in there, stopping the run. So you really thought it was going to be I thought it was going to be a closer match.
Oh, absolutely. And like I said, I thought it was going to be a huge test for the Wolverines, but we were wrong. And I think, the way Minnesota's playing, I know they lost, I think their last game, but the way Minnesota's playing, I'm expecting to roll the boat, PJ Fleck, to kind of maybe come over here and take Penn State out of the Super 16.
It's Penn State. I don't know. I don't know where they're going. I don't know if they're going to have quarterback controversy. Is there any news breaking of that yet? But that's never a good thing on the college level with a senior. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm with you, Chris. I was expecting a better fight from Penn State.
Yes, I was. But you'll be happy about our next team.
Number 15, Syracuse.
The Q finally made it.
They made it.
Hello.
where's
Q's in the
Shane?
house.
Where is he? I confirmed that Shane did not storm the field.
Oh, he did not. Okay.
He did not.
Okay.
But he did hustle to the locker room. The buses to get out of there as quick as he could, but singing the Syracuse fight song with his son Riley.
Nice.
They were in attendance there, so
that is awesome.
You gotta like Q's, man. They're on a roll.
And we like
Dino.
There you go, Dino Babbers. We liked us some NC State, but what happens, man? You get knocked out of the Super 16. That team that beats you needs some recognition. And I know we talked about this before, but we had a chance to look at the teams that Syracuse played, and they were not that impressive. Let me see. We could take a look at
down the street. Syracuse. The Q's. You want me to pick up the game? They play Clemson.
Yeah.
This Saturday. They beat Purdue.
Right. Okay.
They
Exactly.
Thomas Jones, Virginia.
UConn. Hello.
Wagner.
See?
Wagner.
So how can you look at that schedule? And I remember you're
beat
talking about
Louisville.
I know. You're talking about that. And unranked Louisville. Unranked Louisville.
But at that time they played them.
Yes.
Louisville. We were shocked that Louisville got smashed.
That is true. That is very true.
It was to open the season there.
Yes.
I don't remember if Louisville was ranked at that time.
They were not.
Okay.
But I do understand that. So the fact that we can now be excited
They're in.
that Cuse is in. So that's
in.
a good thing. And that might be one of my top 5 games because they're playing Clemson.
Hello.
It's going to be a huge game. Huge game.
Huge.
Number 14, USC.
Okay, now if no one likes college football, shame on them because after watching this game, oh my God. This is just, you want to talk about a game for the ages.
Yep.
And it was interesting because I don't know who played the late game last week, but this was a late game this week, although it wasn't that late, which is great. It was all types of exciting. Students were nuts. It was at Utah.
Utah.
It was, I'm surprised Whittingham still is there because I thought he'd be gone a couple of years ago.
A bigger school, you're saying?
Yeah. I think, but maybe even if not out of the conference, then a better school in the conference. I don't think he's bringing Utah to like the top.
They're
number
always
1, number 2 program in the country.
Yeah, they're always on that precipice.
Right.
They're like 8.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
they're
They're over
very
like
well
around
coached.
8 to 12,
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe he's doing enough just to keep his job and getting paid, right? I mean, who knows? But after this game, I mean, the idea that he went for two. I mean, I knew. I mean, like you had to. You absolutely had to go for two. You were at home.
Crazy.
You had the USC team on the ropes.
Oh,
I mean,
I was cheering for USC.
It was extremely exciting. Now, how could you do that? How?
I wanted them to win.
How?
I like all goods up at top. I like this. Forced
Well,
playoffs. I know they're making the playoffs bigger.
Well, I mean, obviously Caleb Williams, and it's interesting because now
I
he's
love
kind of
Caleb
dropped
too.
a little, but I mean, he had 380 yards.
He's a football player.
He still
He's
has
another
one
guy.
interception.
He's another guy that just has that intangibles. He could throw the heck out of the ball. He's accurate. He's athletic. He throws anticipation throws continuously.
Well, and I also kind of think about, what we've heard with the coaching and the players getting these crazy astronomical NIL deals.
Right.
And then all of a sudden you get this team called Utah that actually beats them. It's just kind of like the David and Goliath idea of, you have a chance to have this kind of smaller, lesser known team kind of do it. And they did.
Lincoln
Great game
Riley,
plan. Kids
flying home on his personal jet.
Right, exactly. But yeah, that was one of the more exciting games of the weekend, and they're going to have a bye, so they have a chance to kind of lick their wings, and they're going to play Arizona, which I do feel sorry for Arizona because they're going to have to prove themselves, because not only to our Super 16 poll, but the nation as a whole.
Exactly. Let's go to number 13.
Number 13, Oklahoma State.
See, another one of our favorites, man. This is crazy, man. This is crazy. And they played a team that, was basically kind of unknown to the Super 16, but may not be now.
Right.
But they wound up
Baylor?
beating. Who? Who? Right. But I mean, come on. I mean, you want to talk about kind of, and I think we mentioned this last week, that it's one of those. I mean, Gundy is the type of coach where he may not be able to win that big game or keep it this consistent, and we actually kind of saw that. I mean, I was,
that game came down to the wire again.
Exactly.
This kid, they went for two as well. TCU in their home, Texas Christian University, the Horned Frogs. They were out there playing, just like you said, punch, counter punch. It was one of those games that came down to the wire. The great story on that is this kid was the second string quarterback.
Right.
That's coming in, from TCU. So it's like to hear and see this game, it was really intense. Oklahoma State, they get to this point.
Right.
I said it to you. I'm like, Gundy.
Well, and think about the second team guy, right? I mean, the idea that he's going in this huge game.
Right.
I mean, how many reps did he have that week, I mean, and that's what I think about. A lot of folks might not understand that, but, your second team quarterback, and God forbid your third team quarterback, because your third team quarterback is like literally holding the clipboard. He may get one rep, and that may be goal line, and then he's done for the day. Right. But you want to talk about how many reps like your number two guy gets. I mean, if there's 11 reps and your third team guy gets 2 or 1, how many reps do you think your second team quarterback is getting? Maybe 3, maybe. And so he's able to walk in there and really kind of show out and overcome a highly ranked Oklahoma State team.
Listen, you determine yourself by your performance. The stories always change. Drew Bledsoe, Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
These stories are always seen as fairy tales, but then if you look back, Mickey Mantle, Wally Pipp, these stories, when you have the opportunity to perform,
Right.
get out there and perform. This kid did. Oklahoma State, 2 unbeatens facing off again. What a tremendous. You had Michigan, Penn State, then you got TCU, Oklahoma State, you had Alabama, Tennessee, and these games were all being played under the brightest of lights. It was such a great weekend of college football, and undefeated. Speaking of undefeated,
Number 11, UCLA.
Max Duggan in the house, the QB for TCU. Again, being able to kind of shine on that stage. I mean, that's it's fun.
you still love that.
Hey man,
what about UCLA?
Why not? Yeah. Well, since we covered the TCU Oklahoma State game, let's go ahead and move up to number 11.
I did.
Number 12, TCU.
I messed that up.
That's
apologize.
Okay. That's okay, man.
Because they were both playing each other.
There's a first time for everything. Your only mistake you've ever made in the history of the TTNL network,
I don't know about that.
Only mistake.
But listen,
Yeah.
TCU,
Yes.
Oklahoma State, back to back
Yes.
in your poll.
See? And TCU's debuting
in your poll.
In the Super 16 poll, which they should. But it's going to be interesting because they're going to be playing a good Kansas State team. So let's see if this runs true. Can they last?
Can they last
in the Super 16?
Can they stay in the Super 16 poll show
Can
ranking?
Hello.
There you go. Our lady of the house has entered the building.
Hey, she has arrived.
Listen, she had to do her grocery shopping. She had to get some things done.
Hey.
A new night this week. TTNL.
Right.
Super
well,
16.
And then even next week,
yes, we gotta go.
We're hanging out on
Tuesday next week.
Tuesday night we'll be hanging out.
Because on Monday night we'll be hanging out again as well.
That is very true. So
double nights.
About a number 11.
Sorry, I pressed the number 11. Let's do it now again.
Okay. Number 11.
Number 11, UCLA.
Number 11.
11.
UCLA. See, that was good. Okay, so they move up 3 spots after a bye week. They didn't play anybody, but that's what happens in the Super 16 poll. When you get teams that play like crap or they get their ass beat, then, it doesn't matter if a team plays or not. They still need to move up. So
they can move up. Baylor moved up and lost. Who knows what's next? No, I'm joking.
Hi. Who? What team did you mention? I don't know. I don't even know who you're talking about.
Chip Kelly on a bye moves up in the Super 16 poll show.
How about it?
Coming out of the blue. Nobody had UCLA doing anything this year. Nobody did.
Now you can ask. I mean, now they're ranked higher than SC. Are they going to give SC the run for the money? I mean, what about that?
That's going to be a great game.
How about that game? But before that,
Notre
they got to
Dame?
play a really good Oregon team.
Oregon. Oh,
next week.
Oregon. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, right. So
Bo
it doesn't
Nix.
mean anything.
They got to win.
Exactly.
They have to beat Oregon. You're right.
So let's hurry up and get to Oregon. So let's get on.
Let's get to number 10.
Number 10.
Number 10. Wake Forest.
This is another bye week move. These guys did not play and moved up 2 spots. But
pulling the George Jefferson.
Moving on up. Moving on up. Yes, see? Benjamin knows what we're talking about. Again, we're just excited that dude's back. He's able to play healthy, and he's kind of doing well. They're going to play kind of an average Boston College team this week, so we expect them to win. But as we've seen, as we know from Notre Dame's experience this week and in the previous weeks, regardless of what the team's record is, they still may lose. So it's an issue of will Wake Forest kind of bring it for Boston College?
Gotta do it.
This
is it. I mean, we say it all the time. You got to perform when you're given these opportunities. Like Iowa, every year they 7-0, 8-0. They go to play Iowa State, they get knocked out. They play, Minnesota and lose. You can't do it. Got to win these big games. Wake Forest playing BC, they're always tough.
Or
you just have to be the better team.
Or do like a Georgia does and keeps that boot, that steel tip boot on somebody's neck, and then they're not allowing them to get any breath, man. They're not allowing them to breathe. And they're rolling on people, man. And they have another shutout. So, I mean, what prevents teams from doing that, right? And you could look at and say, oh, well, it's a talent, right? Because after Iowa's first unit, after Georgia's first unit sits on the bench, their second team guys come in there who were 5- and 4-star guys who are just waiting their turn. They're not letting teams score. But I digress. We're finished talking about Wake Forest. Let's jump up to my new favorite team. My new favorite coach that has balls the size of coconuts.
Number 9.
Utah. I mean,
Utah.
I mean, again, who does that, right? I mean, it's a perfect situation. I was talking to one of my boys on the phone. He was like, "No, they're not going to go for it." I'm like, "Are you kidding me? How do you not?" I mean, it's a perfect situation. You have the momentum. You're at home. You're home in front of your fans. Freaking blackout. I mean, everybody's. This is your time. And look what happens. I mean, great game.
Utah has always been very well coached.
Right.
You could just see it.
Right.
But it's what you said. Do they always have the talent?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like they have garbage talent.
Right.
It's not like, but they're never, ever getting over that. Can they do it?
And my boy Cameron Rising, who I think is just his look, man. He looks hilarious.
Oh, my God.
He has over 400 yards and is now at 1,900 for the season.
And he's an athlete.
Yes.
He can run and move and make things happen. I like that kid.
And it's interesting. After the game, they were talking to the coach, and the reporter was like, hey, how did you know you wanted to go for it? And he was like, Cam's the best competitor that he's ever been around. And when you have that person at quarterback and he's saying, hey, we can do this. Let's do it. I mean, and he was like, there was no doubt we were going to go for 2. And when your head coach has that type of confidence in you, but more importantly, when you show that you're that type of leader.
Yep. He believed in you. That's where you have those intangible boxes checked.
There you go. And this is the thing. And I know we don't talk about this a lot, but because we're kind of in the moment. But 10, 15 years down the line, when this guy's, in some great job, I mean, he's going to think about kind of like this moment for him, right?
Right.
And how his coach, the whole team, the whole school, they were all behind him, and he actually did. And regardless of how their season finishes, I mean, the idea that he was part of this great win when they took down, USC. I forgot how many times they had lost to USC, but the idea is kind of like that lasts. And believe me, I mean, I've, I'm over 50 years old, and Pat Terrell, who played for us, he played safety at Notre Dame. He's known for the play, which was knocking down Steve Walsh's pass to Leonard Conley when we played Miami in 1988 for us to win the national championship. I mean, that was the one play that defined him, but I mean, also kind of elevated his, confidence as well. So, and he's extremely successful now. But that was just a little sidebar.
Let's go to number 8.
Number 8, Oregon.
Again, another move up because of the bye. Hey, man, you know what? Every team should just get a bye and they move up a couple slots in the
Give them a bye.
So, give them a bye. Give them all buys.
Give them all a bye.
Well,
Didn't think.
we love Oregon because Bo Nix has had this kind of resurgence after being at was Auburn, right?
Yes.
Where he was the heaven sent, the God sent from Auburn, and he was going to be their next
Another Bo at Auburn.
Exactly, and look what happened. So he bounced out of there after saying that he was born to be a war hawk, or
Yeah.
War
Eagle.
War Eagle. Sorry,
Is it War Eagle?
Yeah, it is War Eagle.
Yes.
And then have an opportunity to kind of excel here after Coach Cristobal rode to Miami. I mean, this is exciting, man. This is always exciting. Oh yeah, shit! I forgot to talk about that.
I wanted to talk about this tight end too. Thank you,
Dude,
Ben.
200. What do you have? 286, I think, or something like that. 200. Something. Come on, freaking amazing!
You could just tell.
Thank you, Benjamin.
Such a great talent.
He was crying after the game. I mean, come on, man. I mean, come on.
Fluid athlete. What was his name? I wrote it down in my notepad. I'm like, this is a guy we got to watch a lot of tape on because what a talent at tight end there at Utah. But Oregon has a lot of talent, and Bo Nix leading Oregon. Who does Oregon have this weekend, Chris?
Who do you think? They got BK Brad Kelly's LSU.
There it is. And that.
No. I'm sorry.
Is that what it is?
I'm sorry. No.
No.
It's number 11 UCLA. We just talked about that.
That's this weekend.
Yes.
Oh, so that'll be later in the show.
Yes, but still,
Bo Nix, UCLA, boom.
Because we just talked about how you're saying that UCLA UFC games gonna be great, but then I've said, no, wait a minute, they still got to get them some Oregon.
I thought it was a couple weeks down the road. It's coming up this weekend. Jeez, yes. There's a must-see game this weekend.
And it may happen to be on my top 5. I'm just saying it
might be.
I'm just saying.
Might be. Let's go to number 7.
Yeah.
Number 7, Ole Miss.
We have your boy Dart and crazy ass coach.
My boy Dart.
Kiffin. I mean, he's not throwing up great numbers. I mean, he had 3 touchdowns, only threw up 130, but they did beat them some Auburn, which kind of puts them in a situation now they're going to be playing LSU.
House of Lane. The House of Lane. Jump around in the House of Lane.
Which I think is pretty cool. So we haven't heard any crazy stuff from him this year.
He was doing some crazy things on the sideline.
Yes, he was. Yeah. Yes.
I don't know. He's doing burpees.
Like nationally,
CrossFit.
Nationally, though, we haven't heard anything.
Yeah.
Which I think is kind of interesting. Maybe he's actually matured.
Well, he did call out his fans when ESPN was at the building. They're like, I can't believe there ain't more people here turning out for us. He's fired up.
Yeah, right. I mean, he did say that.
So, Lane, exciting. Ole Miss, they play good defense too down there. So, that's why you have them up high on your list.
Hello.
I like the kid Dart. He hasn't put up the numbers, but
no, he has not. But I mean, you cannot count out, Lane's team. I mean, it's crazy.
Yes. Let's go to number 6.
Number 6, Alabama.
Dude, this is Alabama's second drop in a row, man.
Oh my God!
Like what is going on in Tuscaloosa? And Nick, what? But I say that in jest. Like they don't deserve to be in the top 2, top 3, right? Because they've had way too many close games. And see, here's my feeling, right? Like there's only so many games, or there's only so many opportunities you're going to have where the field goal's not going to go in, the wind's going to move the ball, somebody drops an interception, somebody doesn't make a tackle, and we've seen that, right? So they've used up all of their good luck for the football gods,
Yeah.
and look what happens. Tennessee comes in that no one thought was going to happen, right?
I knew the game was going to be tough, but listen, the only critique I have is that running back from Bama needs to get fed a little bit more.
Yeah.
In these situations. He's so, oh my God. There was one play, Bryce Young hits him in the flat, and he's kind of like striding, and he's outrunning people.
Right.
And then he turns on his third gear. And it was like, I haven't seen a back that fast.
It's big.
It's big. And I'm like, this dude, woo, that's some speed there. That is some speed. Alabama. Exactly, D-Rock. That's exactly what I was going to say. Watching them hurt themselves.
Right, exactly.
Because they get the interception there. The game's, they're winning. We knew the thing. And the thing about it, Chris, like, it seemed to be playing out as it always does. You're in a tight game. You fumble the ball. Alabama picks it up, scores.
Right, exactly,
Goodbye, guys.
Right, exactly.
Thanks.
Exactly.
It was a tough one. You gave us a challenge for 58 minutes. But the game is 60. But to get to that point where, you know, the penalties were killing them. Gibbs. Thank you, Ralph.
Yeah.
Gibbs. The kid is just an amazing talent at running back. We'll see what they do moving forward. But to Chris's point, I'll just say this. This is where Alabama gets serious now. And then how do you get up from this? I already believe you already heard me pontificate about Bryce Young. So now you get, you know, the rest of the season, the SEC championships come around. Then the story of Alabama gets retold again. That's the greatest thing about all this stuff.
Right.
We see where it goes. We see where it goes.
Well, and that's what kind of the reason they've been consistently great, right? Is that they're able to come back from situations like this. And, you know, he even talked about it. He said, you know, hey, we still have the West. And our opportunity is going to come when we play in the SEC champ. Or he kind of alluded to it, but that's really kind of, you have these types of tests through the year, and oh, good God, they're going to make you stronger. And so now you're going to be in a situation when you get to that game, or when you get to another game where you're going to be your back's going to be against the wall, you know what to do. And so, but surprisingly, after after Alabama kind of fell a couple spots again, second week in a row, this hasn't been done since we've been doing the show.
Exactly.
Which I think is kind of a new dawn for a new day, so to speak, when you have kind of people that are usurping kind of that Alabama's dominance of the West.
Listen, the name Alabama is synonymous with winning. You can't deny it. It's become like the Yankees in my childhood. They became the evil empire to everybody else.
Sure.
But they kept winning. It's like New England, dynasties, winning. You know, right here in my backyard. Alabama is that. So until that coal has been doused in water, their flame is always going to burn. And that's where college football's greatness will shine in its biggest of moments. Now, they decide how they go. We'll be here, though, to watch it all. I'll tell you that.
Well, and oh, by the way, I mean, this is the last point. I mean, you're still talking about Bryce Young and what he accomplished. I mean, oh, by the way, in a loss, he threw up 455. So, you know, bam.
And was there on
Pardon me?
And could have easily won that.
Exactly. So
defense makes a play, their corner.
He definitely is not out of the Heisman watch. So let's move on to number 5.
They play Mississippi State.
Yes, they do. A good Mississippi State team.
Yes.
Who may be ranked in another poll somewhere. I don't know.
Let's go to number 5.
Number 5. Clemson.
Okay, now this one was a hard one, man. This was a hard one to rank, right? Because I'm all about, the performance you have that week. What are you showing me? But like the teams that are above Clemson and the teams that are behind Clemson, man, I think they're kind of in the right spot, right? I mean, DJ's obviously doing really well after you kind of doubted him and he heard you and said, you know what, I'm going to go prove DDP wrong. And so he's having a stellar year. But the idea that, they are, what is it, like a touchdown between or one touchdown above an unranked Florida State team, do they deserve this ranking? But obviously couldn't put them any higher. But then I don't think I could put them lower because Alabama, even though Alabama lost,
I would have put Alabama, in my opinion, in front of them.
That's okay.
You're
allowed to have an opinion. That's okay. I'm good.
I would have voted Alabama 5.
Okay.
Everything else so far.
Do tell, DDP.
I agree with every ranking that you've had so far.
Except for this one.
Jeepers creepers.
Exactly, Jeepers creepers. Really? Okay. Well, so we have a little conflict, a little controversy on the Super 16 poll set.
The set.
On the set.
But I mean, it's 1A B to B right here.
Sure.
I'm just, if I was to look at these two teams, if Clemson's playing Alabama this weekend, who is Chris picking to win?
After kind of seeing, but you have to kind of take it in the entirety. It's not just one game for me. So we've had, 3, let's say 2 really close calls with Alabama and a loss. So, literally.
We also had a double overtime with Clemson versus Wake.
Right. That's very true. A ranked team. Yep.
And they only beat Florida State by 6 points? What was it?
Correct. Yeah. Touchdown. Yeah.
34-28.
Mm-hmm.
So, listen.
Benjamin, thanks for reminding me about that. Thank you. I was doing fine until you reminded me of that. Thank you.
Notre Dame goes to Syracuse in 2 weeks.
Yes, they do.
Wow.
No.
Carrier Dome.
No, in 2. Oh, yeah, 2 weeks. Yep.
Yeah. But anyway, I am not Bayloring this pick.
Wow. Is that a thing? That's going to be a thing now. Bayloring. How are they? How was Clemson still even in the top 16? Wow. Bayloring. I like that. Okay. Hey, man, I liked them till the end. I liked them till the end. Now they're like number 48. Now.
Where's Notre Dame?
Number 47. Notre Dame.
I think they should be a little lower this week after
they got down to 50.
Demolished by 1-4 Stanford.
Oh my God!
We will get to that later.
All right, let's go to number 4.
Let's.
Number 4. Michigan.
Now I do have to apologize to all my Michigan fans out there. I thought they're going to have a tough game with Penn State. I really did. And I'm looking at my notes, and last week I said that I'm kind of nervous. This is going to be one of those games, but was I wrong? So huge shout outs to our super producer, Cherie, who's a avid Michigan fan, and my boy Rick DeLeon, who's a Michigan fan as well. So they stay put, however, at number 4. Again, kind of tricky situation.
You move them up?
How am I supposed to move them up
Tennessee
took down the
No,
Giants,
I
man.
understand. Tennessee overcame demons
Exactly.
that have haunted that house
See?
for centuries.
Well, what was the last? I think, what did it say? 2006 or 2007, something like that?
Oh my God. They remember that? Remember Poltergeist, the little lady that came in?
Yeah.
Step into the light. Step into the light. Finally, Tennessee stepped into the light. So I can't debate. But Michigan, I got to say this. Michigan's offensive line. You talk about contrasts because you know how I was, Chris. I'll bring it back to the Bears for you Bears fans. I wanted everything in my power to Jim Harbaugh coach the Chicago Bears because I knew fundamentals, maniacal understanding of personnel. He doesn't care what star you were coming out of high school or not. They go out there, you play the fundamentals, and you do it. And they put a absolute abuse on Penn State's run defense that was ranked like number 4 in the country. They were stopping they made them look like Towson State playing Michigan. It was like Sam Mustafer's brother was getting bullied like his brother out there. It's like, I'm just keeping it real. Those guards, that center, boy, Big O. Sign me up for some Big O. Oh my God. I love Michigan center. Like, he's my favorite player.
That's awesome.
You got to love it. So Michigan.
Is he comparable to your Iowa center from last year?
The Iowa center was so dominant in strength at the point of attack.
Okay.
It's like Big O is so athletic and strong that he's not there yet. But yes.
What year is he? Do you know what year he is?
Oh, that's a good question. Cherie, can you find out Big O? Center, starting center, number 55, I believe, for the Michigan. One of these guys will know it. But yeah, Linderbaum from last year from Iowa, I loved. Obviously, he goes to the Ravens. The Ravens have another amazing draft. But here we are, Chicago Bears still needing center. I loved Creed Humphrey before that. He's starting with I could pick out centers now. I don't think I've ever missed on a center.
Really?
Ever.
Okay.
So when I give Big O some praise,
it's well deserved.
I know he's got a Nigerian last name, so that's why they call him Big O.
Okay.
Cherie is looking for his year. I don't know where he's at. Will he be in the
and see if we can get a correct pronunciation, because I can't wait for you to try to.
I'm gonna try.
Pronounce that one.
He sets the tone. I'll just tell you that. You could see that his movement, those guards and the left tackle, they had a highly rated left tackle. This Samoan kid out of Texas, from Texas. He ended up transferring to Minnesota because he was beaten out by the left tackle who starts now. And that kid is outstanding.
Okay.
Too.
Nice.
So their left tackle, all of them really play well. Their right tackle. Hey, and that was they won the game up front. Anybody have any questions about Michigan? They were
Michigan's offensive line.
They're running backs, though.
Should they be ranked higher is the question. But.
No, I think the step into the light Tennessee Volunteers, you can't overlook that victory. You're number 1 team.
We haven't even talked about that. We haven't even talked about number 3 yet.
Let's go to number 3.
Number 3, Tennessee.
Oh boy. Oh, there you go. Thank you, Cherie.
She got it.
There you go.
He's a grass. So there you go. He's going into the draft.
Your boy Hendon Hooker.
Aloha Timmy.
There you go.
Timmy.
Okay.
Aloha Timmy.
All right.
I'll tell you, Big O.
How many touchdowns do you think Hendon had? Just saying.
6.
Tennessee quarterback. He had 5 against
Okay.
Bama and put up
Hyatt.
385 yards.
How about that receiver?
Oh my God.
This
Come
kid. Come on, man.
Come on, man. I mean,
That
this
was-
is when it gets exciting, right? When you have teams that are able to topple the blue bloods of college football the last umpteen years. And now we're seeing that they are human. And there are teams out there that have talent. And oh, by the way, this is year 2 for Josh Heupel. Year 2.
You could see, I saw it last year, you and I watching them.
Yep.
You could see that their intensity,
Mhm.
their preparation, Tennessee always is fluttered with these talented athletes every year. But this year, you
And it's kind of
see
interesting, but
the
here's the
culture.
thing.
Go ahead.
So the AD, so he's from UCF, Central Florida, University of Central Florida. The AD from UCF gets hired at Tennessee, and then the following year, guess what happens? The coach from UCF rolls to get a bigger job to the SEC. You get Tennessee, and oh, by the way, year 2,
Here we are.
top 3 in the country,
Did you see the video of the AD?
smoking a stogie.
Yeah, and then they ask him about the field goal posts. What do you think about that? He's like,
what do you say?
he's like, I'm just loving this moment, or something like he didn't care at all because the win was even bigger than the cost of replacing those. That's
Well, here's the thing, and a lot of folks might
loved
not
it.
know this. So the NCAA, they fine schools for allowing the students to run on the field.
yeah.
I don't know if you knew
How are we going to stop them, Chris?
It's more dangerous if you stop them, right? If you try to stop them.
Exactly.
I mean, I was seeing some stuff on social media. Some of the girls were getting trampled because they were in the front row.
Oh my God.
And they weren't moving. All of a sudden, you saw them rocking. Then all of a sudden, boom, 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 they were going over.
Oh
But
my
I mean,
God.
at that point, you can't hire enough security guards to, keep 80,000 people in their seats. You kidding me?
Come on.
Doesn't happen.
The fireworks are going off, the lights go out,
Exactly.
and the fans just
Come on. Are you kidding me?
exploded onto the field. There's no way.
And
to stop
then I saw a little video of them taking the goalpost down to the river or something like that.
Yeah, I think
They were
threw
going
it in
through the stadium.
They're swimming with the thing. I don't know.
Come on, man. But see, that's what college football is about. And I do
Yeah.
have to say, and this happened years ago, and I knew it was something special. When Lane went to USC from Tennessee,
Yep.
when they announced it, he was still in the football complex. They surrounded the football complex. They were like lighting mattresses on fire and shit.
Yeah,
Like he
they
couldn't
were
leave the building.
they were fired up.
But dude, that's cool. That's what
They
college
love
football's
their
about.
college football.
That's what college football is about.
I
You
love
cannot deny that.
Did you hear them all singing it?
Yes.
A cappella?
Yes.
That was
Come
a
on,
great
man.
moment
Come on.
too. It's like
This is
the
what
whole
college football's
crowd.
about.
Even Chris Zorich's notes would have sounded perfect in that chorus. Do they need
Wow.
a reminder of those?
Let's go, Notre Dame and Cubs fans! Somebody had that queued up. Thank you very much. Thank you. I should have known that because that was kind of out of left field. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, it's always queued up, Chris.
Thank you. Thank you
And
very much.
anytime we want to watch it again, right?
I was very fortunate
be-
enough last year to sing the 17th inning stretch at the Cubs game in Chicago, and
Go ahead.
people were like, "Oh my God, it's terrible." I was like, "No, I was doing." Hey, there you go. Yep, I like it. Terrible. I was doing my impression of Will Ferrell doing Harry Carey.
So he wasn't.
Right. It wasn't Harry Carey.
It wasn't
It was
singing.
Will Ferrell's
It
version.
was
of it.
Will Ferrell's version.
Yes.
Okay.
Everybody. Oh, it was great. He was great. Anyway, thank you
Yeah.
for giving me that trip down memory lane.
Real quick.
Real
Quick.
quick, real
Lane.
quick, real
Lane
quick.
left. He's at Ole Miss.
There you go.
Tennessee's back. Heupel was a Heisman candidate. Now he's a coach. fireworks. One other thing.
Yes.
Do you remember? Did you ever play video games in college football?
I did not.
You never were into video games or anything
Never,
like that.
no. I never played
Damn.
video games.
As much of a nerd as you are for sci-fi and all that, you
For
never
comic books and stuff like that. I was busy reading comic books versus.
you never played video.
Well, honestly, we couldn't afford video games when I was a little shorty. I mean, other people had them, but I would watch.
Well,
Sorry.
I needed them.
Okay.
And there was a game before it's now, I guess the college football game is coming back out, which had been disbanded prior.
Right.
But back in the day, my day, it was Bill Walsh's college football.
Okay.
And I loved it. You can run the read option. You could pick what offenses you wanted to run. You could match up any team. They even had Hofstra on there, for God's sake.
Oh, that's why you liked it.
No, I didn't play with Hofstra. But anyway.
You didn't play with yourself?
No.
Oh!
The game had, if you won like a season, the fans would storm.
Oh, really?
Pull down the.
Well, that's great.
It was so great.
That's great.
And you would live for that. So that's what I was getting to. It's just a part of college football and the tradition, almost like cutting down the nets for the NBA or the college basketball.
So check this out. This is a sidebar, but it just kind of talks about how schools are different.
Yes.
My daughter's a junior at St. Mary's.
Mm-hmm.
And when Clemson lost to Notre Dame, she was a freshman. And that was in a couple of years ago. So that was right like during COVID where people didn't know what the hell was going on and stuff like that. And so they only allowed faculty and students in the stadium at that point. And there were clusters, so you could only sit in the clusters. So she sat with all of her girlfriends, right? Like 4 or 5 girlfriends, whatever. And at the end of the game, everybody stormed the field because we won.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple of days later, she gets some mail through campus, and she has to go in front of like the academic council, or no, the student affairs council, and explain why she stormed the field.
Hoorah!
What the hell?
What?
So now she's a freshman that just gone through COVID. She's like, man, I hate this school. Are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. I mean, come on. And then it was crazy.
I could see Pacino in the freaking scent. Hoorah! Remember?
Right. Oh yeah. Well, and then it didn't help that the AD talked about how he was there in 77, and they stormed the field, and everything else, and he was like, "Oh, how could you not?" You know. And then it's like her and her dorm mates get. Somebody turned him in. I mean, but I was just like, what? You know, I mean, granted, it was during COVID, but still, I mean, it's just kind of talking about a little dichotomy. Here you got an AD smoking in the locker room going, of course, why not? I'll pay that. I'll pay that fine of $60,000 for having the students
bring her in front of the student council.
Amazing. So that was a little sidebar, and my daughter's probably going to kill me for mentioning that. But
I love it.
Who's number 2?
Let's go to number 2. Who is it going to be?
Who would it be?
Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, boop.
Number 2, Georgia.
Okay. Georgia. Same spot. Played Vanderbilt.
Who's our number 1?
Played Vanderbilt. Beat the 55-0. Next.
That's all it took.
I mean,
stats,
but you kind of assume, right? I mean, you know, he finally is over 2,000 yards. Still only has 1 interception, which is great, but let's move on.
Number 1, Ohio State.
Now, I think someone made mention, and I think we should also talk about how they stay put at, there we go, after a bye, and they have your favorite team, Iowa, this week.
Iowa. IOWA.
You mentioned how you may have a different number 1.
Yes, I could see Georgia being number 1.
I can see that too.
Because not only did they do what you said goes in your scale.
Yes.
They beat the living crap out of someone in the SEC, Chris.
Yes, they did. And I believe that was
Ohio State had a bye.
right.
So I would
And
move
that was
Georgia
Vanderbilt
to number 1.
after they beat Vanderbilt.
Hey, listen. Jay
Okay.
Cutler played at Vanderbilt.
Gary, where are you?
Okay, well, all right. I mean, okay. But let's take a look at the schedule. Wow, I'll never forget. I'm gonna stop.
Notre Dame beat
Terrible.
Vanderbilt. Oh, they don't play Vanderbilt.
Oh,
Hey.
So would you rather have a 55-0 score of Vanderbilt or a Michigan State score of 49-20 or a Wisconsin score of 52-21? I mean, these are teams that have been somewhat powerhouses and some kind of good teams here. And after your Georgia team had a hiccup,
Georgia
against
also, Chris, in my debate with
yes, please debate with me.
are the defending national champions.
Yes, they are.
So on a bye, let's move down Ohio State. Can we do this now? Write it in. Move down Ohio State. Put Georgia number 1. No, it's your poll. It's his poll.
No, I'm fine with that. But what happened with
I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Oh, and I'm glad. But like week 5,
yes,
they just beat Mizzou by 3 points. So, which is why they kind of like
okay.
Who
has Ohio State played?
They tripped up.
Who's Ohio State played? Let's look.
Let's look, please.
Toledo.
Yes, Samford. Georgia played Samford.
Rutgers is your litmus test.
Kent State.
Rutgers is the Vanderbilt of the Big Ten.
Georgia played Kent State.
Kent State's tough.
Yes, obviously. They're the MAC champions, right?
Kent State, MAC champs.
Now, okay, so if you want to go by ranked teams,
Toledo or Kent State.
I don't want to walk down this path though, but I will do it.
No,
in honor of my Super 16 poll show.
Yes.
Georgia did beat a number 11 Oregon.
Oh, opening day.
On opening day. Who did Ohio State beat on opening day? I forgot.
Let's look.
No, let's not look.
Let's look.
No, let's not look.
You don't want to look?
No, I don't, because I already know.
Was it? Who was it?
It was the number 4th team in the country, or 5 team in the country, or something like that.
The number 47th team.
So that is the reason why.
Okay, so
the O State crowd is on my side because
you were on last week, Ohio State.
Yes,
they stay the same. This is your last week. Your top 4 stay the same.
Correct.
Bama and Tennessee flip-flop.
Hey. Ole Miss State.
Ole Miss State.
Yes.
Let's go to this week. Look at it. Watch, we could do tricky switch.
Tricky switch.
The tricky switch.
Tricky switch. Is that what they
Hit
call it?
The tricky switch button. There's Penn State, number 16. Syracuse, the Orangemen.
Utah.
USC, number 14. The Trojans. Where's Kevin Wood? Coulda, shoulda. I don't know where he's at. 13, Oklahoma State, the Cowboys. 12, TCU, the Horned Frogs. 11, UCLA, the Bruins. 10, Wake Forest. Hey, they're there. 9, Utah. Wake Forest, we could remind you, was Chris and myself were just rooting for them, the underdogs last year.
Yes.
They're continuing. That coach is building a good, well-coached culture.
Yes.
Down at Wake Forest. It's good to see. 8, Oregon. Or 9, Utah. 8, Oregon.
Utah.
You love some Utah. Some Utes. Remember the Utes, cousin Vinny?
The Utes.
Utes. Then there's Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin, Alabama, Nick taking a deep step back.
Taking a second step in a row.
Taking a deep step of he's playing the trust game with Chris Zorich. He's gonna fall back. Is Chris gonna catch him? Clemson in a resurgence with their quarterback DJ. Michigan, you know where Cherie's heart's at. Big Blue with Big O. Tennessee, the Volunteers. Will they continue?
Oh my God.
Remember, there's no moral victories, Bears fans.
We totally forgot to mention who Tennessee's playing.
Who are they playing?
UT Martin. Ho!
Hey! I wish they were playing Jackson State. That's who I want Tennessee to play. Deion Sanders. I want to see Deion out there.
Hey, speaking about Deion, did you have a chance to see the 60-minute thing yet?
Oh my God, no.
I didn't see
Georgia, Ohio State, rounding it all off. What are they talking with Deion about now?
Just being at HBCU and the success and all other stuff. I mean, I didn't have a chance to see it. So, how
long is he staying at a HBCU?
What time is it?
Yeah, the condensed version. 9.
No, I'm just saying. Like, if somebody offered, he was looking at jobs last year
on the low,
right? So, I mean, the idea that
but however, he promises to these kids.
However, he did talk about it. So, it's actually an interesting article in Sports Illustrated. I will send it to you. But I just heard he had a 60-minute one.
I got to watch the 60-minute.
Yes.
I want to share next week. We need to talk a little bit about Deion Sanders.
Okay. I will
share my thoughts on Deion as well next week. Speaking of thoughts, Chris, every week, if you're new to the show, real quick, we go to Chris Zorich's.
However, before that, we're going to talk a little bit about my wonderful Irish. Oh my God. I was there and it was pitiful. It was
Jeepers Creepers.
Ooh, let's keep on playing that one. It was just Jeepers Creepers. You're absolutely right. I mean, it was so, and I just think it's kind of like a disorganized, and then we're talking about the offensive side, disorganized. There were times when the ball was hiked and the receivers were still in the stance looking over the sideline. I mean, that's a discipline. That's kind of running through it. And, it was interesting because somebody made a great point. I think it was Ryan Harris was talking about, he does radio for Notre Dame, was talking about that Tommy Rees doesn't know how to coach a quarterback that wasn't like him, right? And so what we got to realize is that, Reese played for Brian Kelly. Brian Kelly made him the OC. I mean, all he knows is what his abilities are and what the philosophy was from Brian Kelly. I mean, there's no diversity in his resume, right? And so he hasn't gone to some other school and not necessarily taught somewhere or not coached somewhere else, but coached a different type of quarterback, right? I mean, he's not sure. And it's interesting because somebody talked about how the same situations that they find the current Notre Dame quarterbacks in were the same thing that was happening to him when he was playing. Like, he wasn't getting to play in fast enough. They weren't. I mean, it was just kind of embarrassing. And I feel sorry for Marcus because he's put his faith into.
Now, did they force this marriage or was it Marcus?
Well, I don't
is
know
it one of those? Listen, you keep.
I'm not that behind the scenes, but
okay.
but I mean,
begs
that
the
was
question.
That was a topic because I mean the media talked about it and the athletic director said he had a conversation with Tommy before he had a conversation with who he was going to have as the head coach, which was Marcus. So that's a little backwards to me, but now we're seeing. There you go. Now we're seeing what's happening as part of that, right? Is that this huge offensive mind that everybody thought Notre Dame had now. I mean, he even said he was going to unleash kind of what his ideas were and what he wanted to do that was new. And, you're seeing it's just not happening. And so, but you give Marcus credit. He's not throwing him under the bus yet, and he's taking all the punches, which, is great for a head coach. But at the end of the day, in closed doors, I'm sure they're having conversations like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, what are we doing? And when you aren't disciplined enough to get the ball out at a certain amount of time, and it happened several times during the game. I mean, you can't, something has to break. And, and so it's kind of interesting because a lot of folks are blaming offense. A lot of folks are blaming Marcus for just saying, hey, you need to put a stop to this and let's run it this way. But I have to kind of say that, he's not that offensive mind, and I'm not expecting him to become this offensive guru in the, 11, 12 months he's been the head coach.
It's a tough situation. My 2 cents aren't going to help you in this.
But
I've always believed the head coach is responsible. You have
Absolutely.
you can't two platoon it. You got to say, this is what I want to do. This is offensively what I believe. Schematics and all that stuff, X's with the O.
Right.
There has to be some sort of agreement of how philosophically you are going to run the offense that if you specialize on the defense, that you're going to be on the other side of the ball. So it's a definite become a chess move for coaches where now the offensive coordinator can take the fall and that could be the move. But again, I look at Notre Dame, they have this tight end that I think I would love to have him on the Bears as opposed to the tight end we have from Notre Dame.
Hey, he's still a domer. Still a domer.
Mayer, right? Not John Mayer, but the kid Mayer. That kid's a baller at tight end. And exactly, Joe. And you have to, that's your identity, that tight end. So your offense, that's where you need to run and scheme and do the things because you got a good back as well. Mike.
Well, and it's hard because, I mean,
you got to demand that now. It's like, no.
The game before that, I mean, they were rolling. Offensive line was rolling. I forgot how many yards they had on the ground, but then all of a sudden,
BYU.
All of a sudden, they came there with this supposed passing attack, and you lose to a 1-4 Stanford team. And I think at one point,
let's
they
just
hadn't
say
lost
this.
to like a Division I team or they haven't won a Division I team in
that was their Super Bowl for Stanford, and Shaw is a great coach to me. Again, he's hindered by some of the recruiting qualifications at Stanford, so you get a certain type of player. But I've watched Stanford, their fundamentals and how they teach and it showed up.
Right.
It showed up against Notre Dame. So
which you have to have, because if you don't have the athletes,
exactly,
you have to make sure you're fundamentally sound.
I always laugh at real quick, make this point, because the NFL, other than NFL, you can't teach that. Nobody knows everything. I don't know. I go to coaches' clinics to learn techniques. I mean, I was learning these rugby style tackles, which are different now, and they're trying to incorporate some of this. So you're learning these techniques in order to teach and become a part of what it is your philosophy is. Long story short, Army football is always my example for anybody. Like, if Army's doing it, your job in the NFL, your job at Ole Miss, your job at Notre Dame is to do it like that. If your kids don't buy into it, then get another kid. Because I don't care how many stars that these kids come out with over there. Here's this hat. No, here's that hat. I don't care about none of that. Come play football for Notre Dame. You are going to be a better man. You're going to be a better football player. And we're going to do it. The guy, I don't care if he's a walk-on. He's starting if he comes in here and competes. That's the message Notre Dame has to get back to. The Tommy Reed, let's throw the ball. Let's do this. Let's have bigger aspirations. There's one way to win, and that's, the Notre Dame way. You got a great offensive line talent there. That's how you're going to win, and you got probably top 2 tight ends in the country.
Right.
Come on. Make it happen. Make it happen. Anyway, my mini rant with you on Notre Dame.
I love it. I love it. And that they play a UNLV team, which they should just dominate. But again, I said that about Stanford.
You said that about Stanford.
I mean,
you just hold your breath.
Come on, dude. It's tough. It's tough, man. It is.
Trust me. Hard. I know.
Okay. So yes, and actually, that we'll talk about that. I mean, that was me talking about how the defensive linemen were
getting blown up
against Marshall.
Marshall.
I think they
Marshall.
Wow.
Brought it to
That's
the
a good shirt. Which Marshall won, I think, 2 games since they beat the crap out of Notre Dame. So, come on.
Oh my God.
It's been very, very frustrating for me as a alum and gigantic supporter of the university, but I have all the faith in the world of my boy Marcus Freeman, and he will do well. He just needs to tighten some things up.
We'll see where the Notre Dame Fighting Irish go. I know where we're going.
Well, hold on. Right before that, Lou Holtz was 5-7 his first year, so let's just use that as a reference. Not saying we're going to be 5-7. I'm just saying.
Well, I asked you after Marshall, are they going to let this guy go? And you were like, no, come on. No. We got to. Here they are after Stanford. Stanford's a rival game. It was Stanford's Super Bowl. Now, Marcus and this situation on the offensive side have to be addressed.
Yes.
We'll see where they do. Yes. Let's go to something that needs to be addressed. Another segue, a double segue. Real quick.
This is going to be real quick. UCLA, Oregon. That's going to be the game.
There you go.
We referenced it when we were talking about Super 16.
Oh, Knicks.
It's going to be
Chip Kelly.
Phenomenal. I mean, that is the game. Then you got to see if Alabama will take it to Mississippi State after this loss. They're going to have to prove themselves. I would hate to be the mad doctor at Mississippi State, because they're just going to come out, and I think they're going to come out and dominate them, because, I mean, they have to. They have to prove themselves. Then we have an interesting game, which is going to be Iowa at Ohio State.
Iowa. IOWA. Let's see what the Hawkeyes. The Hawkeyes could be that Stanford. They could be that Stanford. They're a thorn in the side of Ohio State. We'll see.
It's not going to happen.
Is it at Iowa? Is it at Iowa?
At Ohio State. It is at the shoe.
Okay.
At the shoe. So hopefully that does not happen to Iowa. Ooh. After that, we have Clemson we have Syracuse at Clemson.
Syracuse.
Which we may see Babbers, Dino's, Syracuse Orangemen may go down.
True colors.
Be interesting.
Shining through.
And the last game is our boy Lane at BK's house, LSU. So I think that's going to be
House of Lane. You've never cheered harder for Ole Miss.
Oh my God!
Than you will this weekend.
No, you know what? That's wrong. Actually, I think it was the bowl game last year when the first team quarterback got hurt. Do you remember that? Or what was the bowl game? And he wanted to go back in? No, this is at Mississippi.
Oh, yeah. That was last year. Yeah.
So I mean, I was cheering for that dude,
I'm just saying.
Okay,
There's some meat on the bone.
Yes.
There's some meat on the bone of this game for you.
Yes, there is.
Me too. I'm cheering for Lane, House of Lane, especially versus Chip Kelly. Let's go.
Hey, there you go. Yep, I like it.
You know what that means?
Uh-oh.
When the music comes on,
it's
time for deep thoughts.
I feel like that SNL skit they used to do with the dudes in the mirror.
Yes.
I forgot that.
Deep Thoughts with Jack Handy.
Yeah, there you go. Well, selfishly,
If Notre Dame isn't Irish, do they celebrate?
Right.
Yeah,
St. Patrick's Day? Right.
Exactly.
So unfortunately, selfishly, it has nothing to do with football. I lost one of my best friends this week. My 12-year-old Rottweiler, Icy. She was a great dog. For all the dog lovers out there, there's nothing that compares to dog. We have cats too. We love our cats, but just dogs are just awesome. And she had an amazing story. I actually was watching television one night, and they had a news clip about this Rottweiler that had walked on the ice at a retention pond and fell through. And somebody called the fire department, and the dog was treading water for about 30 minutes just to stay alive. So she was obviously a fighter, and they wanted to rescue her. And I was watching it, freaking tears in my eyes. And I called up the shelter that they wound up taking her to. And they were like, hey, we appreciate the call, but we got like 100 people in line. So if you want to put your name on the list. And I was like, okay, you know what? Here's my name, but great. She's going to go to a great home. There's 100 people ahead of me. That's fine. And then lo and behold, a couple days later, they're like, hey, are you still interested? I'm like, sure. Went down there, had a chance to meet her. She was awesome. I still didn't get the opportunity to be her pops. She went to a different home, but the other home had a newborn, and I think she may have knocked over the newborn by accident with her butt or something like that. So the mom was like, absolutely not. And so they called me back again. I was like, are you sure you want? I'm like, absolutely. So we had her for 7 years. Unfortunately, she passed away a couple days ago. So again, all those dog lovers out there understand what I'm talking about. They are our best friends. They actually also choose us. And I just kind of wanted to just talk about her a little bit, kind of my therapy, a little bit more importantly, just let folks out there know that, although we love football, we also love our pets a little bit more than football. And her name was Icy because of the whole ice.
Nice.
Breaking through the ice thing. So
look at you. You're creative with the name.
Hey, man.
Empathetic.
Yes.
Dude.
And now we have a 10-year-old Rottweiler at home. Her name is Athena, and she's kind of walking around, like moping around and stuff like that. So she's getting extra love. So
are the wife and Chris thinking of stepping back into this dog saving game?
Right now, the plans are to see because again, it just happened a couple days ago. We're just kind of running crazy. So yeah.
Listen, I'm so sorry for your loss, man.
Thank you, sir.
I'm finally in agreement with Logan Frost. Let's mark this on the calendar. I do also agree that dogs are family members. There's something so special about a dog, and you sharing that means a lot to me because I was just talking about my dog with the guy that installed our fireplace insert. We got a wood burning stove because we cut down all those trees.
Okay.
I didn't know that I gotta wait a year to burn the wood from all those trees. So I gotta buy the wood.
Oh my God.
So long story short, I go and he's putting it in, and he starts like getting emotional. As I go, you all right? He's like, your dog, man. Your dog reminds me so much of my dog that I lost.
Wow.
And he started sharing it with me, and he's like, I go, well, he's like, what is she, 4 years old? I go, she's actually 10. He's like, she acts like, I go, she is like, and he's talking about her, and you have that prideful moment. It's like, you love that dog, but he said something so good. And I think this is God's way of me sharing it with you. He said, because I was joking, I go, she's so great with the kids, everything, but she'll be quick to steal your food. You better. She's stolen a lot of people's food,
right.
And he said something really great. I shared it with my wife over dinner tonight. I was like, you know what he said? He goes, yeah, but all that food that she stole, you'll never forget those stories. And you'll miss that so much. Trust me. And not to get you even more emotional.
He's right.
But they are a part of the family. And I love my dog Shy, not named after the R&B group. And she ain't Shy. She was actually named as I have Walter and Peyton the cats.
Right, remember that.
And we have Shy named after Shy Town.
There you
that
go.
was my wife's agreement with that. My wife is the best. Gotta give her a shout out. But
Yes, she is.
I'm so sorry. She's gonna be upset when she hears this.
Yeah.
So maybe when we come to Chicago, Steph will have like this box with a puppy in it.
Aww. Please let me know beforehand, because my wife will kill me if I'm bringing something home. Like, oh hell, you're standing out there in the garage with the puppy. Hell,
His name is Tape. His
There you
name
go.
is Tape.
There you go.
Tape never lies. I love you, Chris.
Love you too,
Another great show. A lot of fun. A lot of laughs. Are you still watching the shows? I've been told, listen, Lord of the Rings, man, you got to watch it, Phil. So I'm sharing that with you. I
over House of the Dragon?
No, not over it.
Okay,
They're just
all
saying, hey,
I'm waiting for you to watch that, man. I'm watching that shit
I'm gonna catch.
religiously.
Listen, my wife. Do you have any rules in your house? Like, watch a show, cheat on the wife. You know what I'm saying? It's
Right,
like,
exactly.
don't watch it without me.
Right.
And
But
then
then
she's
it says-
falling asleep,
Right. It's like,
and I'm all into it.
Oh, see, well, what I used to do.
I'm like, are you up?
Well, what I used to do was like, when that would happen, it's like, oh, I fell asleep. And it's like, oh yeah, I did too. And I'm like 3 more episodes
Oh yeah.
beyond
Where she's at.
Right, exactly. I'm like, oh no, I didn't see that. Then I got to ask
you
her,
did.
oh my, I didn't see that. Oh, I'm like, really? Come on. And then when I'm talking with my boys, I'm like, dude, did you see that? Oh my God,
You're playing it all. You play
Right.
the acting role like you
Right.
never
I'm
saw.
an actor, yes.
The funny thing is, at least she will do the same thing, but she's always like, oh, I'll watch it again.
Right. But it's like, but you already did it.
Listen, you watched it. Sometimes I'll just do the recap, but there's certain shows I can't do the I gotta watch it. So I'll
But
just watch it on my own and
so-
catch up.
I know that Lord of the Rings, I think they're going to have like 1,000 seasons because they paid so much for it or something like that.
Are they?
Well, they paid like a shit ton of money for. I think they raised everybody's Amazon Prime
That's the Lord of the Rings.
feed. That's the Lord.
Forget
of
it.
the
I take back. No, I haven't seen it yet. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
I was checking my Amazon Prime.
See,
Should I bet more or no?
right, exactly.
They
But again,
promised my kid
House of the Dragon.
Okay. House of the Dragon.
Yes,
Yes. You thumbs up.
absolutely. 5 thumbs up, man.
How many ripped t-shirts? How many cut off t-shirts do you give that one? 5?
I definitely out of what?
5 out of
I would
5.
say 7. And then
Oh, you're going over.
yeah, and I finished watching She-Hulk and I almost vomited. I mean, it was the worst
Really?
Marvel production ever.
I got to tell you a quick story about
Ever.
She-Hulk.
Please don't tell me you like it.
No, I'm sitting there watching it with the kids because it's Disney Plus,
Right.
right? We're on episode 1,
Okay.
and she's on this cliff with the Hulk, right?
Right.
She's like, "What a dick!
Right.
You're such a dick. Don't call me." I'm like, is this Disney? I'm
Right.
trying to watch it with the kids. They're swearing. There's no forewarning here.
Well, but then I don't know if the rest of it. He knocks her over, and as she's falling, she gives him the finger.
Yeah, I forgot about that part.
And
I'm
then
glad you remember.
in several other episodes,
Steph
she's
is like,
twerking.
what is going on?
Well, several other episodes past that, she's twerking as She-Hulk.
Now I don't know if she's having relations as the Hulk as well.
Yeah, but again, they're actually holding true to the comic character, because
I didn't know there was a She-Hulk.
Yes, and it's kind of rough because like a lot of folks don't know that she ever existed. But and then they're kind of surprised at all this stuff that's happening. But to their credit, they're staying true to the actual character in the comics. And as a matter of fact, she was with the Avengers at one point, and they actually kicked her out of the Avengers match because she was having too many dudes over knocking boots with them. Yes.
Listen, Rob Grooms deserves a moment.
Oh,
I'm 50
Rob, thank
years
you very
old.
much.
I don't want to be a fanboy, but I wrote my senior essay in college on Chris Zorich and his story. But he barely graduated college. But that story probably helped get him over the hump, Chris.
I was gonna say I hope so, because was I the cause of him barely graduating? I wasn't sure where that
I
went.
gave you the positive.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Rob. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, man. And if you want to send it to me, you can send it to me at crz@chriszorich.com. Not that you still have that, but if you happen to have it on an old computer, I would love to check it out.
CRZ,
my initials, at chriszorich.com.
There you go. Send Chris a message. Send
Please
him
do.
your papers.
Yes, send me all of your college papers.
Maybe he'll edit it for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, I love you all. Thanks for jumping in the chat every week, honestly.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody.
I so look forward to interacting on this show to see where Chris, Chris, have been practicing the last 3 weeks not to look at your list. I just send it right to Russian Ronnie.
Okay.
Because I want to live it, and it's been I've discovered that I have more fun when it's unveiled every Monday or Tuesday. We'll be back next Tuesday.
Yes.
We got to bounce off the air now because the boys are coming up next. The A-Team, the fantasy, for keeping it fantasy, coming up next tomorrow night. Got former defensive coordinator of the Chicago Bears, Greg Blosh, coming on the show.
Great guy. Played Notre Dame.
You know Greg.
He played Notre Dame. He was a great player.
Oh, you have a special message.
Tell him I said hi.
Gary, where are you?
I don't know where Gary is, but I know Greg will be on the show tomorrow. Keep it locked in. Follow Chris Zorich on Twitter, Instagram, his Facebook, as well as his YouTube channel, and check out his show, his own podcast, the Christopher Zorich Podcast.
Chris Zorich Podcast, but that's okay.
Oh, the Chris Zorich Pod. What was it? Cherie, I blame you. No.
Real quick.
We'll be back next week, breaking it all down, and another exciting weekend of college football on this weekend. We'll be back covering it next Tuesday night. Set your alarms and your notifications for next Tuesday, the Super 16 show.
I got it out.
You got it all out. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching the Super 16 Poll Show with Chris Zorich. Like, subscribe, and comment. This has been a special presentation of the Tape Never Lies Network. Performance over politics.